Welcome in. I'm Hunter Kanoki, and this is Fool's FAQ, a show where I take the internet's most burning questions and give you an answer that'll make you the smartest person at your next ice cream social. On today's episode, the cold, hard truth behind the freeze. Picture this. It's a sweltering summer day, and you've just gotten your hands on the most perfect snow cone. You're excited, you're hot, and you dive right in with the biggest bite possible, and then bam! It hits you like a frozen lightning bolt to the forehead. Your brain feels like it's being stabbed by 1,000 tiny icicles. And for a moment, you question every life choice that led you to this moment. That, my friends, is brain freeze. And despite what your dramatic reaction might suggest, your brain isn't actually freezing. So what's really happening in that skull of yours? Well, the answer involves some surprisingly sophisticated biology, a nerve with an impressively long name, and a phenomenon that's been puzzling scientists since the 1800s. So stick around, because we're about to uncover why something as innocent as an ice cream cone can turn your head into a temporary war zone. So first things first, let's get the official name out the way. That sharp pain that you feel when you inhale a slushie too fast, it's called sphenopalatine ganglion neuralgia. Try saying that 5 times fast with the brain freeze. The term literally means pain of the sphenopalatine nerve, which sounds more serious than it actually is. Now, brain freeze isn't just about ice cream, though it's usually the culprit. You can get it from any cold substance that hits the roof of your mouth or the back of your throat. Frozen drinks, popsicles, even jumping into freezing cold water or breathing in extremely cold air. The key factor isn't the temperature outside, it's the temperature of what's hitting those sensitive spots in your mouth. Now here's where things get fascinating. When something cold touches the roof of your mouth, it doesn't just sit there innocently, it actually triggers a complex chain reaction that starts with your blood vessels and ends with your brain essentially hitting the panic button. So, the leading theory about what causes brain freeze involves a nerve called the trigeminal nerve, one of the largest and most important nerves in your head. This nerve is essentially like the head of security for your face, controlling sensations throughout your head and your face region. When something extremely cold hits the roof of your mouth, it sends this nerve into overdrive. But here's where it gets interesting. Your body's immediate response to this cold shock is actually a survival mechanism. When the temperature in your mouth drops suddenly, your body thinks, oh no, this brain is getting too cold. So it does what any good biological system would do. It tries to warm things up by rushing blood to the area. This creates a rapid sequence. First, the cold causes blood vessels in your mouth and throat to constrict or tighten up. Then, as your body tries to compensate, these same blood vessels quickly dilate or expand to allow more warm blood to flow through. This rapid constriction followed by dilation is what most scientists believe triggers the pain. Think of it like your blood vessels doing an extremely aggressive version of opening and closing a faucet really fast. The sudden changes in pressure and blood flow activate pain receptors, which send signals through that trigeminal nerve we mentioned earlier. But here's the weird part. Even though the problem is in your mouth, you feel the pain in your forehead and temples. This is what doctors call referred pain. Your brain gets confused about where the pain is actually coming from. It's similar to how a heart attack can cause pain in your left arm, even though the problem is with your heart. And the trigeminal nerve has branches that extend throughout your head. So when it gets triggered by the cold sensation in your mouth, the brain interprets the pain as coming from the front of your head instead. Now, there's actually another theory that some researchers favor. A study published in 2012 found that brain freeze might be caused by a sudden increase in blood flow through a specific artery called the anterior cerebral artery, which sits right behind your eyes. Now, when this artery rapidly expands due to increased blood flow, it might increase pressure inside your skull, causing that familiar stabbing pain. As soon as the artery constricts back to normal size, the pain disappears. Now, here's something that might surprise you. Not everyone gets brain freeze. Studies show that about 37% of Americans actually experience it. In other studies, researchers found that 41% of children in Taiwan get brain freeze, but only 15% of adults in Denmark do. Why the variation? Well, scientists can only speculate, but it might have to do with how sensitive your trigeminal nerve is. Children are actually more prone to brain freeze than adults, but probably not for the reason you'd think. It's not because their brains are more susceptible, it's more likely that kids just haven't learned the fine art of eating ice cream slowly. They see a popsicle and just full speed ahead. Now, interestingly, there seems to be some connection between brain freeze and migraines. People who suffer from migraines are more likely to experience brain freeze. In one small study, 93% of migraine patients were also prone to brain freeze. This suggests that the same nerve pathways involved in brain freeze might actually play a role in migraines. And yes, before you ask, animals can get brain freeze too. Cats have been observed having reactions similar to human brain freeze when given cold treats. Their neuroanatomy is similar enough to ours that they likely experience a comparable sensation. Now, the good news is that brain freeze is completely harmless. It typically lasts anywhere from a few seconds to a few minutes, with most episodes resolving in under 30 seconds. While it can be more intense in a migraine headache, it's much shorter lived. So, the question I'm sure you're all tuned in for: how do you get rid of a brain freeze once it hits? The key is warming up your mouth. The fastest method is to press your tongue firmly against the roof of your mouth for about 10 seconds. This warms up the area and signals the blood vessels to calm down. You can also drink something warm, suck on your thumb, yes, really, or even cover your mouth with your hands and breathe quickly to trap warm air. If you want to prevent brain freeze altogether, the solution is frustratingly simple, which I'm sure most of you already know. Slow down. Eat cold foods gradually, take smaller bites of ice cream, and give your mouth time to adjust to the temperature. When drinking cold beverages, avoid using straws if possible, since they direct the cold liquid straight to the roof of your mouth. The study of brain freeze has actually contributed to our understanding of other types of headaches. Researchers believe that the vascular changes involved in brain freeze, those rapid constrictions and dilations of blood vessels, might be similar to what happens during migraines. Some scientists even think that understanding brain freeze could lead to better treatments for other headache disorders. There's also the fascinating historical tidbit that the first recorded account of brain freeze dates back to the 1770s, when a British naval officer in Sifley took a large bite of ice cream and spat it out, quote, "with horrid oath," unquote. The term brain freeze itself is relatively new. It was first used in 1986, and 7-Eleven actually trademarked the term. So, the next time you're enjoying a frozen treat and feel that familiar stabbing sensation in your forehead, remember that you're just experiencing a complex neurological event that involves multiple nerve pathways, blood vessel changes, and your brain's attempt to protect itself from perceived danger. Your trigeminal nerve is just doing its job. Your blood vessels are working overtime, and your brain is essentially throwing a protective tantrum because it thinks you're trying to freeze it. Brain freeze might be painfully annoying, but it's also a reminder of just how sophisticated our bodies are. Even something as simple as eating ice cream too fast triggers an intricate biological response designed to keep us safe. So, the next time someone asks you why your brain freeze happens, you can tell them it's not just about the cold, it's about blood vessels, nerve pathways, and your brain's overzealous attempt to protect itself. And remember, the best way to avoid demonstrating this knowledge is eat your ice cream responsibly and slowly. Thank you so much for listening to Fool's FAQ. Feel free to leave a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts, as it also helps new listeners discover the show. For more fascinating answers to your burning questions, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and always stay curious.